Hey guys. Clearly, well, I don't know if it's clear or not. Running just a little bit behind tonight, but by the time you get the dogs wrangled and the lights for the projects on, and hey Minky, how are you? Turn my volume down on the one mic. So, but we're here now, so that's all that matters, right? Oh gosh. I wish that life was just a little calmer the last week or two. Hey Rosalinda. Oh, it's so good to see you guys. Okay, I will turn this camera on and hopefully I can get my lights all settled so that they're a little bit better aimed at the project that we're working on tonight. There, if I get it up close to the camera, it's a little bit better, but so fun. Hey, Maria. Oh, do I sound flustered, Minky? That's probably the best description of me this last week. I was going to say today, but I think it's been probably about a week. It's so nice that there's people on here that like recognize each other from the last time they hung out with us, and I think it's great fun. It makes me happy. So thanks for that, guys. Okay, I'm going to pull you guys a little closer to me. Hopefully I don't bring the whole thing down. So I've been playing around with this idea for like a week or two, and I've got these fun little earrings, but these components really could be made into a lot of different things. So that like 4-piece stud component I'm using as an earring, but you could definitely make a cute little bracelet out of like joining these together, or even like for parts of a necklace. So we're really excited about that. And the other thing that's really cool about this project is that those stud beads, so I'll hold it on its side so you can see, they've got like the little spiky shape, actually would work just as well as a 2-hole tile. So I've got some of those from our April color scheme here. So this is the same size and shape roughly. The base and the hole distance from like one hole to the other is very similar because there's 2 holes in these. So that's really all you need to be able to convert a project with using a different bead than what we pictured. Awesome, Maria. So the supply list is in our post today from social media. If anyone was interested in going and like copying just the text in that post and pasting it into this chat so that I'll rattle it off out loud, but I would love to not have to type it out, because it seems like with these videos lately, I've not been able to get my act together and get the supply list written out so I can put it all cute in the banner section. But at least we'll change that to welcome to Beads to Live By. And I think, I don't know, do we like the full screen? All of a sudden I got really big. We'll at least turn that so it's like, you see the beads bigger, so that's what's important. But the first person who goes and copies and pastes the supply list will get a little treat from me. So hopefully that's some kind of incentive. I don't know if any of you are tech savvy people that are using more than one device and could go and grab something while you're still watching. But yes, Maria, I really think a bracelet would work well with these. And I mean, granted, these are with 2 different colored beads, but just line it up like that. You could share beads in this space. You could share components going that direction. So it would work nicely as a bracelet for sure. But since I pictured the stud beads for the samples for the project, and since I've got half an earring in 2 different colors here, I am going to complete one of these earrings during the video tonight. And I don't know if you saw on our Instagram stories, and actually it should have shown up on Facebook too, there was a little voting that you could take part in, and it was whether or not I used this color, the denim, or this color, the sherbet, for my sample tonight. So the denim won. Oh, yeah, Rosalinda, it's not a big deal if people don't feel like fussing with the supply list. I just figured I'd make it a fun game if somebody wanted to participate in that. But I'm sorry you're having to use your tens unit. That sounds like you're uncomfortable, and I definitely feel your pain. I was having some excruciating back pain last weekend, like Friday and Saturday, which coincided with a lot of other stress. So I'm super grateful that seems to be easing up. I've been trying to take really good care of myself, other than probably needing to see a chiropractor. Maria, you're my girl. I'm going to get you something special. Thank you. So Maria has posted the supply list, and I bet, oh, look at that. I didn't know I could highlight. I just learned something new today. I was trying to copy and paste that into the banners, but I don't need to because there's this little highlight I can do of people's comments. So, ta-da! Maria, you're my hero. Thank you for that. I am telling you guys for this project that you need 2 to 3 colors of size 11 seed beads, and if you're using your Curated Collections from our subscriptions, then you will have everything you need and then some. Oh, it's not a problem, Maria. This is perfect. So I'll show you where like the 2 to 3 colors thing comes in, and then 3mm fire polish. So that's the size that is in our companion bundles, usually at least a couple colors, and it's the accent in the center and along the like edges between the studs. We've got the pyramid 2-hole 6mm. Now, oh gosh, I'm gonna forget how many come on a strand because I've cut my strand apart for this project, but there's plenty for multiple pairs of earrings. I just did a little bracelet with the same color from the same strand, so there's a lot to utilize again from that subscription in the 2-hole beads. And I'm using a 10-pound wildfire, which we do carry on our website. I've got a gray color tonight, but one of my favorites that I just didn't happen to grab that blends with almost everything is the beige. So that's another great option. And then 11 or 12 beading needles. The accent beads that I'm using tonight, I just listed on our website. I thought they were already there. These adorable little tulip beads. And we've got these in like a ton of, well, a handful of really cute colors. We've only got like 5 colors, I think, in that size. But just depending on your balance of what you want your project to look like, the larger tulip was also one of my inspiration beads for this project and would look really pretty. So, oh, and there's the rest of the message that Maria was trying to list. So the accent bead for the bottom and the tulips are now listed on the website. So thank you so much for that, Maria. That was so helpful. I'm going to list the website just in case people need that information. That's helpful too, huh? And then, yes, Minky, I have completely different colors in the large and the small tulips. I'm not really sure how that happened, but I love nearly every single color in both sizes and I'm totally obsessed with them. So we're going to start with, you're going to have more than you need with a yard of thread. I'm going to say even probably 2 feet's plenty. So I'm going to go somewhere between 2 and 3 feet just to be safe on that 10-pound wildfire. And then honestly, on any given day, I don't really know what size needles are on my beadboard because I leave them here. I don't know if you can see on my edge of my well-loved beadboard, I've got multiple needles stuck along the side there, or should. There's one on either side. So that is also something worth pointing out, that when I thread my needle, I actually needle my thread by leaving a little bit of it between my fingers, like my first finger and my thumb. I just got my nails done today. I had gel taken off of them, so they're a little short right now because they were breaking a little bit, which the only reason I bring that up is that it's a little easier. There we go. I have a longer nail. See how easy that is though? Like a little practice also when you're not doing a project and you're just like, I'm going to practice needling my thread, threading my needle. That is great because it takes the pressure off. When you're like, I want to work on this project right now, and you are working under pressure trying to deal with your thread and needle, it can kind of be the worst. So that's a bad time to practice that technique. And the other thing I want to point out is if you see little errant dog hairs on my project, on my beadboard, I work on my designs while I'm out in the living room with my dogs because it's like one of the few times that I'm out there sitting with them. And I'm sorry in advance if it's offensive because there is hair all over our house. And I noticed a hair as I was like getting ready to bring my beadboard over to the camera. So I just felt like I try to avoid getting it into my work as much as possible when it comes to people's beads and kits and packages. But my beads, my personal projects that I'm working on are like kind of just fair game. I feel like my camera's a little fuzzy, so I'm sorry. I'm speaking of cleaning things off. Thank you, Minky. People always understand if they're pet people, and if they're not, I just hope they'll give a little bit of grace for those of us that have lots of little furry critters running around our houses. So, Maria, I'm glad that you acknowledged that because it is 10 times harder for me to put a bead on my needle, to put my thread through my needle, just generally to function while I'm on camera. I always feel like I'm like fumbling everything. So I really appreciate that you understand that feeling. So I have started with 4 of my 3mm fire polish, and you are going to bring that down to the end furthest from your needle. So like your end of your thread is over here, and we're going to use that thread end with like just 4 or 6 inches at the most and tie an overhand knot. So you bring your thread through that loop, and then when you close that up really carefully so your beads don't slide around too much, you're going to do that one more time because you're going to do double knots so that that'll hold in place. So now I like to always move through a bead after I make a knot. Just personal preference, get away from that knot. Oh, thanks, Minky. You guys, I really appreciate all the kind words. It's been, I will not go into detail in this video, and I try really hard not to complain to my customers in general about work because, you know, it's just is what it is. But there's a lot of expenses that have come up over the last week. And like I said, my back was hurting super bad last weekend. Like, was not totally certain that I would make it into work on Saturday at all because I didn't know if I'd be able to move enough, which is a little scary to be honest. And then had a lot of negative feedback today in a way, and you guys are so positive here and so supportive, and I just really appreciate you being here with me and all of your support of our business, because you all are very regular shoppers, and I so appreciate that on top of your moral support and friendship. So thank you. So I am holding this way to show you. I'm coming out of, if I'm holding my bead so that the bead I'm coming out of is at the top of my work, it's upright. I don't know if that's the best way to describe it, but you want to hold your tile or your stud bead so that it is against that fire polish, because it's going to flank, like each hole of the stud is going to sit on either side of the fire polish. So my whole point in that is that you want to go through the right hand hole of the stud, because we're coming out of the right side of the bead that's closest to the stud. Oh, Rosalinda, no, nobody needs to be got. It's honestly, it wasn't unsolicited or unwarranted criticism, if that makes sense. Just one of those things, one of those days where I didn't feel like I could make anybody happy. Maybe that's the best way to put it. Oh, thank you so much, Wanda. I really appreciate that. That means a lot. So, oh, did I do the wrong? Oh, I just turned my project over. Okay. So once you've got that stud on there, you're going to add 3 of your main color seed bead, and this is going to be the one that shows up the most, that lines everything. So I'm going to use the denim, and then you're going to go through the whole of the stud at the top so that you're going back towards the fire polish. So that's what that looks like. And then the last thing you're going to do to complete this particular edition is we're going to go through the open end of that 3mm back towards the hole that we started coming out of to begin with. So that's also going to be where that stud was connected the first time. And you want to keep everything really tight to the center of the project. So this is what it's going to look like. And then before you try to add anything else, you actually need to go through the next 3mm, closest to where you were exiting the last one. So now your work looks like this. I always say, and I do find it to be true, that this working with 2-hole beads usually involves some modified right angle weave. And that is just always the way that it seems to end up. So there is your next. So you're still going through that. If you're holding the stud up against your 3mm, you're going to go that direction through the right hand hole, the one that's closest to your 3mm, because we're going to repeat this all the way around our work. Sarah works. Thank you, Minky. I will be honest, I was using some locally made CBD balm. It's not a lotion, it's like a stick with coconut oil it's a great business right down the street from ours in Jackson, and it does help. I just need to put more of it on, and I also needed to not aggravate the injury the way that I did this week. No problem, Minky. So once you've got those 3 size 11s on, we're going to go back through the open side of the stud, and then you go through, so you're making a big circle and going back through that 3mm again. And then through the next 3mm before we continue. Oops, sorry, I almost forgot a step. Oh, did I already forget a step? We'll start from here and then I'll explain. You're supposed to be adding your accent seed bead in between these 3mm fire polish at this point. And you really can go through and do it at any time, but you definitely can go through and do it as you work your way around. So before you move through that next 3 millimeter, it's just as easy to go ahead and throw that 11 in there. Oh. And our weather has been anywhere between 80 some degrees and highs in like the upper 30s over the last 2 weeks. So my allergies are like out of control too. If I sound nasally, I'm gonna try to drink lots of water to help combat some of that. So once you get that size 11 accent color, so that's the second color that we've used, in case anybody's keeping track. And then I actually like to put my stud and my seed beads on at the same time. Just takes a step out of like moving beads down your thread. And then we're going to go back through that stud. We also call them pyramids on the website, so either one works. Stud is a little easier to say repeatedly over and over, but I feel like pyramid explains better what the shape is like. So if you see me write out pyramid bead but say stud, that's my reasoning behind it. Behind why I do that particular thing that way. Okay. How's everybody else's week going? I feel like I've just blathered on about my week, and I already feel the negative energy is melting away. So let's share if you guys are not trying to work along. But if you are, kudos to you for having your beads all ready and set to go. I know somebody was saying they had just gotten their subscription boxes recently, which I guess depending on which part of the country you're in. I worked so hard to get them all out on the 18th, guys, if that's a day that the post office is even shipping packages. But it's still sometimes seems like it takes a minute to get around the various parts of the country, since we're pretty much not on the East Coast, but definitely like the east side of the Midwest. We'll say it that way. So because I didn't add all of those accent seed beads, I am going to add one and go through the next two, fire polish each time. And then your goal after those things are added with your studs and everything is you want to exit one of those accent 11s. Oh, Rosalinda, I'm so glad that you got your order. And I think yours even maybe went, no, I think I got it out on the 18th still. I know we were working back and forth on that, so. Yeah, the post office keeps raising their prices, and it seems like shipping is almost slowing down a bit, but that's okay. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to use something that costs still less than $5 for everybody to ship right now. So I've got 5 of my main color seed bead on my needle, and with my thread coming out of that accent 11, I'm gonna come up to the closest following set of seed beads over the stud. So like we're facing, I don't know how to like do this very eloquently. We're facing that direction. So because we're going, there we go. Can't turn my hand because my camera is tilted. There we go. So we're going this way because our thread is coming out of that side of our seed bead, and this is the closest set of beads in that direction. So we've got those 5 on there. And then you're going to add 5 more and go through the following accent 11 from the center. So that's the bead we're going through. And then there's a trick. we're going to go up through that last 11 that we added. Oh no, Rosalinda, you needed more beads? I've got a big order of O beads, hopefully coming from the Czech Republic in a week or two, and planning on adding lots of good colors to our website. So, oh, my excited face is frozen in time there. So from this point, once you've gotten back through that 11, then you are going to be adding only 4 beads this time because we're using that middle end bead there as a shared bead. So I have 4 11s on here, and we're going to go through the next 3 seed beads at the top of that stud there. So that's how you get a nice clean. Now, depending on what brand you're using, I think these are Matsuno, which they are a little chunky feeling to me than like a Miyuki in the blue here. But I think that, hey, Valerie, I think you can play with the counts if you just feel like your beads are like not covering your thread. Just be careful you don't overload it, because I kept taking beads away from this project because I kept trying to add too many, and it was like the beads were buckling on each other. So I've got 5 more here because we're on a side where we don't have any beads yet, and we're going to go through that accent bead. I'm so glad you're excited about the new beads, Rosalinda. We use those O beads too much not to have lots of options on hand. And then going back through that 11 again. And we're going to add 4 this time. And then we're going to go through. Sometimes you can't get through all of those beads at the top. So if you're coming out of, get my tail out of the way there, coming out of the middle, I'll just go through the last one and complete that step. We're almost all the way around our component now. And there might be points in this process where if you are planning to share beads with other components that you need to consider that, but we're not going to go into detail there because that's going to be up to you lovelies to play with. Yes, Rosalinda, and I'm making sure I'm getting good metallic colors along with some fun, colorful, crystal-y colors of the O beads, because Heather does do a great job of using those for spacers and such. All right, so I'm coming out of that bead. And for anyone that doesn't know who Heather is, Heather Powers is a super talented artist who makes beads, who does beaded jewelry tutorials, and teaches a lot of this type of stuff through her business, Humble Beads. And she's coming to do a trunk show in person in just a couple of weeks at Beads to Live By. So I'm super excited about that because that means I get to see her as well as we get to see all her lovely beads too. So woohoo. Ah, such a lovely little square of goodness. So the last section that you do, you are going to have an extra special thing happening. This is, we're doing 4 size 11s here. We're going to go through the first one we added in the entire process like that. And then you want to go through the opposite side of your accent color that you had started from because you want even spacing. And I'll show you guys what I mean in just a second. Get right up there. Hi, Sandy. That's a great question that I did answer just a moment ago. In this particular sample, I think I have a combination of Matsuno, which is a Japanese brand of seed bead, and then I don't know if this sherbet color is Toho or Mayuki, but I do have the sets of colors on our website under the Curated Collections. And Valerie, I agree. This blue is the perfect, see if I can find the tube of it. It's also akin to the, there's a purple in this month's collection that's a similar type. There we go. Such a good denim blue, like a medium wash denim. For those of you that love blue jeans as much as I do. So, Minky, because Heather has such an extensive website and she sells many of her things online, I don't know that we will do any kind of a virtual shopping experience the weekend that she's here, but we won't count it out 100%. I haven't talked to her about that. So I don't know that her answer would be no, I just don't think it's likely. But because she lists them on the website and does so much online, you guys would have an opportunity to get those kinds of things from her, hopefully in the future in the same kinds of colors. Wouldn't we all hope for matching colors of Heather Powers beads every month in our curated collections? That would be like the best thing ever. So after we've gone through that accent 11, we're coming back up and we're working again, still clockwise. And this is for the purpose of working back towards the beginning of where we started. So I'm just working around all these main color denim seed beads. Thanks, Maria. You're taking your job very seriously tonight. Yes, Minky. I think she's sold out. She did them as one of her special, like, she's doing like daily beads, new beads every day, which I don't know how she's doing that. I find that appalling, to be honest. But so she's selling out of those like every night, unfortunately. I might have snagged one. I remember like going and shopping for some beads from her last week after she shared her fun tutorials with our products, and I believe I might have snagged a bird or something, but it was after there had been some time that had passed. I wasn't like there at 8:01 after she listed them and being greedy with trying to steal birds from other people. I try to that's a rule for me, is I let my customers shop before I'll shop for things, no matter what it is. So we've got an 11 in the accent color, a 3mm, and an 11, and we are coming out of, it's the third bead from the interior. So you've got that shared one right above the accent color 11, and then you've got two more 11s, and we're facing those beads, but we're coming out of the next one up. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, and we're going to go through number 4 and however many you can get into on that side as well. So this is what happens when you're done. And this is the last step before we add things for our earring components to attach to. So you go all the way around and you have to go through more beads to get to the next point. So I think, who asked the question? Yes, Rosalinda, I love Heather's beads too. Sandy, did you see Maria's response? The peach sherbet color is Mayuki 445. And then the blue I'm working with is the Matsuno F399N. This is the information that we get from our distributor. So it might not line up with color numbers that you see from other distributors. I will tell you guys that after visiting the Czech Republic and seeing the Czech bead codes that come out of the factories, most wholesalers and then retailers are not using the same information in total that the actual bead manufacturers are using, which is fine. I mean, I like renaming things because sometimes I don't feel like color names suit the beads, etc. But just so you don't like punish me for, or you're not upset with me rather for not using the same name or number as somebody else. It's just not always the correct number, and I'm not pretending like this number is the only number that can be used either. But I think people have their favorite bead distributors that they purchase from, and then they get used to seeing certain codes or certain combinations of numbers and descriptions, and then they assume that that's where, or that is always what's used, which just isn't necessarily the case. But I've got one more 3mm to add on this side, and then we're going to talk about this third color situation that can come into play. And if you guys are watching semi-closely, I tend to go through a few beads at once because it just feels like it saves a little bit of time, at least 2 or 3 at a time. So you want to stop by coming out of what will technically be one of the middle seed beads from the first edition at the top of the stud. So you've got between the holes of the stud, there's 3 beads attached there from that very first movement, and we're coming out of one of those middle beads. It's technically the middle blue one across the top here from like fire polish to fire polish, but I just find it easier to look for those threads attaching my seed beads on my stud and then find that middle bead. The middle of 3 is easier to count than the middle of 7 or whatever it is that's happening up there. So my third color I'm using, I believe, is also a Mayuki. It could be a Toho because I don't have that information in front of me. I do have the numbers though, so I'm going to give that to you guys. This is number 579, so 90% certain that that's the Mayuki color. And it's a really glowy, really like pale peachy pink color. And I'm going to put 4 of those beads onto my needle, and then I'm going to go back through that middle 11 at the top. You could use 6 11s. I like how tight the little set of 4 is, and that's plenty of space for me to get any of my ear wires through. And then we are going to go through all of those beads one more time because I also like to reinforce this kind of stuff. You are welcome to use a thinner thread, but if you're working with Fireline and you use anything 10-pound or thinner, I don't know what 10-pound would look like. Wildfire is nice and stiff, and it might have a different effect if you size down or change threads. So I just like to warn people, if you're working with different materials, I don't fault you, but I also just like to prepare people for the possibility of things being different. And I'm just working around the edge right now. Need to get another drink of water. And actually, while I'm doing that, I'm going to grab another tulip. Got all my beads sequestered for what goes with my April colors. I've been working with those a lot the last 2 days. Oh, this is like just like a white with a matte finish and then copper over it, but the copper finish going just into those crevices left kind of like a pale peachy pink sheen over the white, and it's really lovely, guys. You're gonna really enjoy that tulip amongst lots of other ones, I'm sure. I can't wait. Now, I should bring it up right now while I'm thinking about it. If you guys make other things or even earrings with this project, I'd really love to see what you're working on. And you are welcome to join our Facebook group, Beads in Progress, where we encourage people to share things they've made with Beads to Live By, purchased beads, or with projects that they've learned about through us or have taken classes on with us, virtual or in person, or from projects in these videos. We just want it to be somehow tied back to Beads to Live By. All right, so we're at the opposite end of our component. We're coming out of that middle 11 on that end. And for this combo, I used one of my main color seed beads and then a fire polish, still my 3mm, and then the third color seed bead. And then I like to put my tulip with an earring so that the base of the tulip goes onto my needle first. I like the way it hangs like that, and then one more of the third color of accent seed beads. So when you hang it against your work, it's going to look like that. And then you skip that last 11. So you go through the tulip first, and then the next two beads, and you're going to skip that blue one too. You're going to add another blue one and go back through your middle 11 and probably as many other beads afterwards as you can manage through. And then I'll show you guys how I tie my thread off just so you have that information. We're going to go underneath of the thread that's between the beads already. That creates a big loop of thread, and then you're going to go through the loop. And you have to be careful that your threads don't catch outside of that spot where you started. Because if you move over to another bead, your tied off threads are going to sit outside of the beads. And then you just go through a couple more beads to avoid your knot being exposed. And then our favorite thread cutters of all time, we're just going to get in there and snip that. Your starter thread, if you can pull it towards the back of your work, it's a lot better to trim it off so that if you've got a tiny little bit of it, you shouldn't really with these scissors, but ta-da! Thank you so much, Minky. And now, of all the things I've made with this component, just random bits and pieces with my practicing for the project, I've got a finished pair of earrings. Thank you, Maria. I can't wait to see your bracelet. I'm actually going to dig around behind me really quick and see if I can grab a pair of, just threw some ear wires back into my, there we go. This is why I shoot my videos right in this spot, so I have access to quite a bit of my beads, just in case. Thanks, Rosalinda. So I think these gorgeous ear wires from Cast that I don't think I have them listed on the website or anything, but We do have them at the store if you guys are interested. There's, oh, I want the two-toned ones. So they're like a black niobium base, and then they have a copper accent bead on the crux of the ear wire, and that's going to be so perfect. I need some sort of tool though. Hold on, I'm stuck there. Oh gosh, guys. All right. Knocking my desk around. I just want to get one of these on the earrings so you can see, especially if you don't do a lot of this kind of stuff. So I like to hold a big part of my loop of my ear wire with my pliers and then twist it open like that. And then make sure you string or thread your earring on the correct direction. Regularly have to pull earrings off and put them back on. Oh, Sandy, Michigan is not much warmer, I bet. I'm so glad that you're enjoying the project. Thanks for joining us tonight. Are you new around here? And then, yep, just as I suspected, practically perfect in every way. I've got to stop keeping the earrings that I make because I wear a lot of earrings and I keep a lot of earrings, and then I really need to put some of these out for sale. Valerie. Oh, East Central Indiana is a balmy 53 degrees. So just in case anybody missed it, a lot of these beads can be found in our curated collections on our website, because I really love hanging out and spending time with you guys here. And I really enjoy sharing fun projects with you, but I most definitely also appreciate selling the products that we use here, because that helps keep our store going. It helps feed our sweet little fuzzy dogs. And I just so appreciate your guys' support in being here. Oh, thanks so much, Valerie. I appreciate that. Sandy, I go where Maria goes. So you're like a Maria groupie, I guess, it sounds like. Oh, you guys, I just bent this ear wire all crazy and somehow managed to put it back together. Well, thanks for being here, Sandy. And everyone, there's your finished earrings. I guess I could put them on my cute little plate that I've left over here now. Ta-da! B is for beads. And beautiful. And I can't come up with anything else that's not bead related. Maria, 2-hole beads are so much fun. Possibilities are endless. I hope this inspires you. Sandy, I am the slowest beader I know, and I've been working in the industry for, oh gosh, 20 plus years now, and have been beading for almost that long. So slow is not bad. Slow is meticulous and methodical. That's what I say. Thanks, Maria. Aw, thanks, Minky. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Gosh, I feel more energized now than I did when I started the video. I was feeling very frantic. So thanks for the energy, guys, and the good vibes. Have lots of fun with your project. Don't forget to share it in Beads in Progress. And if you have any questions about any of the supplies I used tonight, don't hesitate to shoot us a message on Facebook or by email. Thanks, Rosalinda. Have fun. Bye, Maria. Bye, Minky. I'm going to have a better rest of my week. I promise, Minky. Bye, guys.